All right, so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw a little bit more and I'll show you a few things. So hopefully you guys have already been throwing. It feels a little bit better today, not as crazy as it did the first time. What you'll do for class today is we're gonna spend most of the time throwing today, right? But maybe halfway through class you start to get a little tuckered out, then maybe you could stop throwing and then work on your other project, either your slab cups or coil pot. Or probably when, right, y'all are probably, some of you are still have stuff to do there. Kind of just work till you get a little worn out, right? And then throwing it's very critical when we throw that we do it though every single class, right? And if you can come in outside of class a little bit, that's great, because you notice that it's really building, it's using some muscles that you don't normally use. So you get sore a little bit and all that. It's critical though that you get time at the wheel to learn how to do it, right? There's no replacement for throwing at the wheel, right? To learn. It's a very much a skill that you just gotta practice, okay? So here I have my ball and then we're gonna throw, and I'm gonna show you a couple new things at the end here. So here I throw it down. Oh, you see how this bat's a little bit dirty? I don't have to clean it, right? It's clean enough here in the middle. Slap it down and then I'll start centering, right? Like that. If you guys have any questions about what I'm doing, just holler them out. So here I wet it down and I want to be close into the wheel, right? So my body is very close to the wheel, right? And I'm hunkered over the, I'll hunker in over the wheel like this, right? I'm really bending over the wheel to get like this. You see that? So I'm bent over the wheel and I'm trying to center. I'm really using my core muscles here, right? And kind of like that, really gonna down like that. So here, I'm going up and I'm making it into a taller cone, right? So I'm using this part of my hand and this part of my hand to raise it up. And then I do this with my hand and I push it straight down, right? And I could use this other hand. I bring my other hand in from the side. So I push down like that, and then I bring this other hand in for the side. They're together, they work together. And I push straight down like that. And then remember that the clay is always turning before you touch the clay, and it's always turning when you let go. And you touch, and then you press, you squeeze, or do whatever, and then when you're done, you slowly release. And the wheel is always spinning. It's probably good to keep the wheel spinning at a constant speed, like this medium sort of speed, right? So here, I wet it down. I'm gonna squeeze again, push, and I raise it up. So I'm trying to do centering, right? And then like that, and I raise it up into a taller cone, and it's looking better, right? And then I'll push it back down. And then slowly release. So you see how that's looking centered, right? And I'm using my muscles, my core muscles. I'm squeezing with my legs. I'm pushing like this, right? Like that. I'll go up one more time. Go up, and then back down. All right, so this is looking centered, right? I'm gonna touch it. How do I know it's like not, oh, it's wobbling a little bit. Let's see if you get a little, so it's better now. So, right, so then I will flatten out the top, wet my hand, push this top straight down, right there, and I slowly release. And then it's flat across the top, straight up and down here on the sides. I'm ready to do my opening. So I curl my hand over like that, right? And I kind of flex it, kind of lock it in, like flexing my arm, and then I can put my other, well, we'll do it one-handed here. So here, we'll bring this closer so we can see it a little better, right? And then I put my finger right here in the middle and I push down, and with a constant pressure right there, starting to go down, down, down. Oh, starting to get a little dry, so I'll release the pressure really slowly, add more water, and I'll push down, 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 down to get a nice constant opening, and I'll slowly relax and release. Let's check the depth here, how much depth I have. So I'll stick my, let's clean that water up just so you guys can see me check the depth, right? So I stab that needle tool in all the way to the bat, and I use my finger to check how thick it is there. So, I want about a pinky's thickness. That seems pretty good. So now what I'm gonna do is widen. So I take my finger and I curl it over like that, and I wanna pull straight back toward myself, right? And I could brace my other hand on top like that. So it's just like before. I wanna flex this and lock it in And then I could brace my other hand on top like that and pull straight back toward myself. So I want the wheel spinning at a very constant speed as I do this. And I pull straight back, straight back, straight back, straight back, straight back. And I slowly release. And then see, I want a nice flat bottom. There's a little bit of a peak there. That means if this is higher here in the middle, that means I'm pulling downward a little bit. So I'm just gonna try to flatten that out really fast. You see that how I can just moosh that down by carefully moving my finger out like that. And then I'm gonna keep going out, 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 concentrating on making this flat down here. Oh, that looks much better, John. Good job, much, much better. So now that I made my flat bottom, I'm gonna try to make it taller, right? And remember, from now on, we wanna be working on the side of the wheel that spins away from me. So see how the clay is spinning that way and then coming back toward me on this side. So I wanna work on this side here, right? Working on this side of the clay, right? On my right-hand side, left hand is in the inside, pushing outward. Right hand is on the outside, pushing inward, like that. The outside hand will be lower, like that. You see that? Outside hand will be lower. So like that. And then what I'm gonna do here is, then my hands join together somehow up here, right around my thumb area. I'm actually gonna push up against my left hand, or my left hand will push down against my right hand, and these will act like kind of like this claw thing, like, and my right hand, sorry, is on the outside, so it's a little bit lower. Left hand is up a little bit on the inside. So I'll wet the whole thing down, and in general, for me, it feels like I have to push harder from the outside, like this, and I push, 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 push. Push, 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 to raise it up a little. See that how I'm raising it up? I'm gonna square this up a little bit because something really weird started happening there. So I'm gonna square it up. All right, so now I generally want a cylinder that's straight up and down, and I want a cylinder that's an even thickness from inside to outside, right? So if we look here, does it look kind of evenish from here to here? It's looking pretty good. Right? If it's thicker down below, which is a lot of times it is down here at the bottom inside, that might mean you have to push harder from the inside, right? So if it's thicker down here, I would push harder out from here, from the inside, push, 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 and then start raising up like that. See that? So raise, that's my second raise. Now I let off the pressure up here because this part tends to get thinner a lot easier, so I chill as I'm going up, and I'll do it one more time, and then I'm going to show you something new. Push in, push out from the inside, and I go up like that, go up, hold steady, go up, steady, go up. Then I start relaxing the pressure because this top part moves really easy, and then here I stop my inside hand, let my outside hand catch up so they come even. You see that? Now you notice that how I have to change my hand position, because when I'm doing this now, if I want to do one more raise, I can't really reach the bottom because the cylinder is getting a little bit tall, right? So you see here, I can't really reach the bottom anymore. It's hard. So I might have to switch to a different thing where I attach my hands together like that or something. So this is a little bit less stable, but I can do it. Let's try it. I'm gonna try to raise it one more time. I'll wet the outside with my water. I'll wet the inside here with, this time using a sponge to wet the inside. And then here I'll just stick and I'll use my hands like this, right? Push, raise, up. There we go. There we go. Raising, raising, raising. There we go. So now I have my cylinder. Right now it's time to teach you something a little bit new. So you remember how a lot of times the rim of your cylinder isn't very good, like it's a little wobbly or something, or messed up. We can show you today how to fix that. So hopefully every cylinder you make, you try doing these next couple of things. One is trim the rim or cut off the rim to make it even. So sometimes your rim is a little funky like that. You have some messy up thing, or there's a big scoop out of the rim, like one side is taller than the other, right? You have those things happening, happens all the time. but we don't want to throw this away. Hopefully, eventually we want to still be able to keep those kind of things. You want to take your needle tool and hold it like a pencil. You see how I'm holding it like a pencil? And then you want to turn your palm turn your knuckles kind of down. So most of us, when we write, our knuckles are kind of pointed up in the air. Turn your knuckles down like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push up against my opposite hand like that. You see, right hand's pushing up against the left hand like that. You see that? And then I'll bring it in like this, and I want to cut below the lowest part. That's the lowest part. So I'll slice below that area. So at first I just touch the tip to the surface, and then each time the cylinder goes around, I push a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. So each time the cylinder goes around, I push a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, till I go all the way through, which I just did, and that top part comes off, right? Very nicely. So let's show you one more time, except we'll do super duper close-up view. Right, so here we'll do it one more time. So here I hold it like a pencil and I bring it in like that, and I'm using this inside hand like that. First I just score the surface, and then each time I go around I push a little bit deeper, 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 till I'm all the way through like that. So watch it as if there was no clay there, right? As if there was no clay there. So you see I start like that, and then each one time around I push a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, till I'm all the way through the other side, right? You see that it takes several revolutions for me to slowly cut through. If I try to push this needle tool all the way through all at once, that's too much drag, and it creates this crazy collision, and the cylinder collapses. It's too much drag. So I'm just slicing off a little bit at a time all the way around. You see that? And it takes several revolutions for me to get all the way through. That makes sense to everybody? All right, so then the other thing that we should practice is undercutting. So you're probably wondering, John, what's undercutting? Well, that one you take this guy and you hold it like a pencil, except you hold it with the blade kind of pointed toward you. So this is our clay knife, right? Hold it like this. The blade part is kind of pointed toward me, and I use the very tip here, and I slowly insert it into the clay like this. So let's now bring it closer so you guys can see what's happening. So I slowly bring this. So once again, I'm working on the side of the clay, right, that's spinning away from me, right? Holding it in my right hand like a pencil, right, like this. And I use the very tip of it. I score a mark on the tip, and then you can see that and I slowly push it in, and I follow that line all the way down till I cut under. You see that, how I've undercut it on the side that's spinning away, and I pull that away. And you can actually see this is my original clay. And then this is the piece I cut off almost. And then you can see actually in there's a little bit of green of the bat. You see that? So now I have two separate pieces of clay. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna cut this off. Let's go to a way where you can see this really well. So now I have to cut this off. So I'm gonna take this guy, put this clay knife in there like that, and then I'm going to turn it like that. So now I'm going to hold this knife here, and this clay will hit the knife and I'll kick it away. You guys see that? It's a little bit like a snowplow. Like a snowplow blade is angled toward the side of the road, and so it hits the snow and pushes it toward the side. That's what I'm going to do with the clay. This thing here is still like this, and so the clay is going to hit my clay knife and kick it to the outside. So here we go. Go. It's hard to do this at first. You see that, how it just scrapes it off like that, kicks it to the outside. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why is that important? Well, if I keep it flat or if I turn it like that, right, it would actually force the clay back into there, right? When I do this cut like this, right, I have to make sure this blade is going this way. If I turn this tool like that as I'm cutting, this will force it into there. If I turn it away, I'll force it out. It's a little bit like a rudder going through water. All right, so here, under and clean that up. So why am I gonna do those? Well, cutting off the rim is kind of obvious. It just tidies up everything and makes it look neater. Undercutting is important because when we start keeping things, we wanna undercut them because it allows us to save time on trimming later, which is really important. Now the next thing, so those are two things that I want you to try with everything. Even if your pot looks really lame, try cutting off the top, try undercutting at least once on everything, because we don't want the first time we do either of those activities to be the ones that we want to keep, like our most precious items. We want to experiment with learning these techniques now. That makes sense, everybody? Now, the last thing that you need to know or start goofing around with is start just playing around with the cylinder, right? So I have a cylinder. We're going to start changing and working on the forms next time, but I want you to do that now. Start investigating what the cylinder can do. So at first, maybe I'll take my 3 fingers like this and just start pushing out. You see that, how I'm pushing out the inside right there? And then I'm just pushing it out. And you can kind of see where my fingers are. So you see how I just barreled it out by pushing out along the inside. So maybe I'll do that one more time. Push, 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 push. Oh, look at that. So I don't know really what I'm doing, but I'm trying. My instructor told me to mess around, right? And that's looking kind of fun. Well, what else could I do? Well, now this part's in. Maybe I'll take my fingers like this and push it outward. You see that? I'm just taking my fingers and pulling it out a little bit. You see that? Just pull it just by doing that. Oh, yeah, look at that, right? So maybe what I'll do is hold my finger here and try folding it, trying to fold this part over that finger. So I'm not really pushing in here that much. I could actually do that without doing that. You see, I could just pull that out. So I'm letting the wheel spin slowly, right? Slowly is the important thing. And I'm using my fingers to change the form, right? So now let's see what I could do. Maybe if I try to push this area out. So here, I'm going to take this side. So I'm going to wet my finger a little bit and then just use my finger here on the side. You see how I'm pushing it out, pushing it out, pushing it out, pushing it out. Oh, look at that. So I made like this weird bowl thing. Maybe I could redo this and push this rim out right there. So you see I'm trying that trick again, right? And you can see that it's starting to get kind of wobbly, right? You see that? Let's see how far this can go. Maybe I could try pushing this part out again. Right? Ooh, this is actually going pretty, oh no, you see how now it collapsed over on itself, right? So this part is the bottom and then it just collapsed down on the wheel. So that, oh wow, but that was fun, right? And what did I do, right? I practiced cutting off the rim, that was new. I practiced undercutting, and then I practiced monkeying around with my form until it collapsed, right? Those are the 3 new things that I want you guys to try today. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you can play with the form, cut off the rim, undercut, just try those today, right? And this is part of just us learning how the clay moves. So remember when we did the, what was it, the pinch pots, right? We were just exploring mainly how the clay moves around, learning about that, right? And today we're trying to figure out how the clay moves on the wheel. We're not gonna try to keep anything today other than just goofing around. Does that make sense? So any questions about that? All right, let's go. Let's make stuff.